Hello, I'm here with Subraya Malia, who is a Bay Area startup entrepreneur building consumer applications, and he has decided to bet his startup using Java EE6 and GlassFish. Hello, Subraya.
Hi.
How are you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi. Like Arun mentioned, I'm a Bay Area technology executive turned entrepreneur, trying to build my first consumer-based application, and decided to build it using Java EE6.
And why Java EE6?
Yeah, my entire technology background has been in Java, but at the same time, in the recent couple of versions of Java, Java EE6 and the immediate previous release, I think Sun has done a tremendous job of making it easy for the developers. The history has been, in the past, it has been a little complicated to put together a Java technology stack, but in the Java EE6, I think it's come a long way ahead, and it's become really easy to build an app. In fact, when I was doing prototyping, instead of learning a new technology, I thought I'll start with Java and start doing it, and I found it so easy, and I had no reasons to go back and then look at another technology to build the actual app.
Excellent. So which parts of Java EE6 are you using in your application?
I use the entire gamut of technologies that are available. There's the JSF 2.0, I use JPA 2.0, EJB 3.1. Especially EJB 3.1 has been really helpful. A lot of interesting things that used to take me a long time to build in the past have become really easy with annotations like asynchronous, timers, schedules. It's been pretty good actually. Saved me so much of time building applications. So
excellent. And so what kind of application are you building using this technology?
It's a consumer application. The idea is to provide a platform for individuals to manage the health of their families. Typically when you look at health consciousness in people, it's always an individual activity. Either an individual joins a health club or starts tracking his calories or her calories and the amount of steps that they walk. But if you really look at how we live a family life. We buy things for the family, we cook for the family, we do a lot of activities around the family. So this decision of having one person being healthy in a family and the rest of them being oblivious to what is going on I don't think is the right way to look at health. The way to look at health should be, there should be a family-oriented decision making when it came to health. If it's good for one, it's good for everybody in the house. So that's the premise of our application. That said, we're not going to go to the extent of trying to have people track their calories or do micro managing of what they eat and things like that. What we're trying to do is cultivate habits in the families where they could really build up all these good habits, and then over time that starts showing results. And also one of the main goals is to take the focus off of results, and then make them do good things. Results will follow. So that's our goal as part of this application.
Very nice. And so you're using Java EE6, you're building an application that is going to manage the health lifestyle of the entire family. How are you deploying this application?
The application will be deployed in a cloud infrastructure. Currently it's deployed in Amazon EC2 using GlassFish as the application server. At this point, that's the plan. We'll scale, but at some point we see this being a content-heavy application, so we will probably revisit the decision of hosting it in Amazon, depending on the economics at that point.
And why GlassFish?
GlassFish, I think, is probably the first one which supported JE6, and again, it's similar to my earlier experience. I started off with GlassFish, saying it was out of the box. That's one of the beauties of working with NetBeans and this technology. Out of the box, it worked. I didn't have to spend a lot of time trying to get this to work. I was focusing on my app rather than focusing on building the underlying infrastructure. So I started playing with GlassFish initially and said, okay, at some point I'll probably move to something else. GlassFish was pretty new to me, but as I started using it, I had absolutely no reasons to go to any other technology. I didn't have to bring in another one, and it was so integrated already. It was working right out of the box.
Very nice. So you're using NetBeans as well as part of your development environment?
Yes, yes. NetBeans, for me, there was no sense in getting an Eclipse IDE and then pulling all these plugins, and it's been a bit of a nightmare in the past where I've used Eclipse, where a lot of things come in and then coming from disparate vendors, and then it starts all these incompatibilities start creeping in. But in NetBeans, the idea was download it, install, done. Start within 15 minutes, I'm up and running. I don't need to do much. So it's been highly productive for me.
Very nice.
And since I moved to Ubuntu, I think I've gained almost 20 to 30% better performance from Windows. That's another thing which we have succeeded. We've gone ahead and upgraded, moved all our desktops to Windows to Ubuntu, and I don't know if that is something you guys know, but NetBeans has been extremely good.
Wonderful. So let's take a look at your application then, and walk us through the application then.
Okay, so the application is called Tiny Habit. As I mentioned earlier, the idea is to incorporate net new good habits in people that will help them in the long run. So the application is primarily a web application, although it's been designed with the expectation that majority of the users will be using it on a mobile platform, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad or an Android device. But you'll also have, there is a richer version of the application that's available on the web, where people will go and do their configurations or preferences, but majority of the access we think that will be through the mobile application. So what you see here is the home page of the application. We sort of highlight some of the value propositions of the application in the home page. You also have some areas of the application which are accessible to anybody, whether they register or not. If you go to food and nutrition, we're still early stage, so you can see some of the images are still being worked upon. We're creating thumbnails for high-res images for each of these. As we stand, we have close to 200,000 items that are being cataloged. The idea is to provide information about these items in a meaningful way where people can understand. Typically, when you look at products in the shop, you get a nutritional labeling on those, but we feel that majority of the people don't understand what those nutritional labels stand for. So what we have done is we've come up with a different way to make it very easy for people to understand what's good and what's bad in those nutrition. For example, iron being 30%, is it good or is it bad? I don't think majority of the people understand. So we've simplified it into color-coded nutritional labels, which will talk about whether people should be consuming it or not. So so if you see, items are also categorized into various categories. We also have, so you'll see a lot of different items which are cataloged here. These items range from vegetables to packaged goods to dairy to meat, eggs, and you name it, everything that you'd find in a grocery shop is being cataloged here. One of the things that we have done here, these might look like categories, but what we've done here is we've cataloged them in a way aisles are defined in shops. So it goes back into to the point which I made, where we'll try to help people build new habits which will help them in not only doing smart shopping from a health point of view, it also helps them being effective or productive when it comes to shopping. So that's the idea. So if you look at any of these items, there are many aspects of these items that are being cataloged in the system. So you have it talks to what this product is, where it came from, what's its origin. We also think that there is in different languages, each of these products are referred to in different names. So we are also trying to make sure there's nothing lost in translation. So we give them the equivalent of that product in different languages.
So, and how are you achieving that? Using internationalization?
Yes. Right now it's internationalized. If you see each of these, it's translated into 14 languages today. The names of each of these, and it's not just the names. In some cases, each product has multiple names, or regionally referred to in different names. Like for example, an okra in the United States is being is called as a lady's finger if you went to Eastern countries. So we also have those aliases which are in English, but they're called differently in different countries. So we have all of those translated.
Right. So then tell me the user experience. So I, as a user, will download this application on my Android or my iPhone, and then I will select the grocery list, and what would happen next?
Yeah, so the idea is we help you build grocery lists, and this is something most people do traditionally. I think if you went to a shop where you were planning to buy vegetables or food, you typically make lists and then you go to the shop and buy. The original reason behind most of it is you want to be productive, you don't want to do impulse buys, you just know what you're buying, you go to the shop, buy it and get in and get out. But we think there is a much more a valuable reason why people should be making lists. When you make a list, you actually think about what goes into the list. So, and also with that information, what we try to do is with the information, we try to understand your eating habits. We also try to come up with alternatives that you should be considering for certain vegetables or certain food items. So the idea is when you create a list, again, since we're taking a family-oriented approach, the idea is you might be creating a list, and you and your spouse might be shopping jointly or separately. So one of them can create lists, but other could shop. Typical example would be a housewife makes a list and gives it to her husband, who comes back from work, and on the way home he might buy stuff from a vegetable shop. Or you both might be in different parts of the country, different parts of the city, but you might buy things because you're closer to a shop. You might buy some things, and your spouse might buy the remaining from that list. So the experience is it's almost like an add-on credit card model, where both of you see the same list. You could add items, and the other person sees it. It's a shared list between the two people.
Excellent. So now let's take a look at, let's spend next couple of minutes, looking through the code a little bit.
Okay.
And so you're running in NetBeans IDE
Yes.
691, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is facelets. The UI is all written in facelets. So it's all XHTML.
Are you using any component library there?
Yes, I'm actually using Prime Faces for my UI components, for the JSF components right now. I also plan to incorporate other components depending on need. Looked at Rich Faces and Ice Faces. Still in the labs right now, but I might be including one of those as need arises. Then I have Manage Bean. These are my controllers. That is, for example, so it's a Manage Bean.
So this is actually a Java EE6 managed bean.
That's right.
It's not a CDI bean, it's not an EGB.
Yeah, the CDI was just released when I had started this project, but so the idea is we have a new version that we are working on where we are converting these things to CDI. The long-term plan is to be in CDI.
Okay.
So
show me some place where you're actually using the timers.
okay. I think I'm thinking where is the timer, but I can show you some of the other things. I think
Sure.
I've got asynchronous. This is what I use for notifications.
Nice.
Today, when a user registers in the application, user will get a notification back saying confirm that it's you, to validate the user ID, the email address that they provided. So once they confirm the email address, then the account is actually activated in the system.
And the advantage is, just one annotation and it becomes asynchronous.
Yeah, that's right. It's not blocking anymore. I don't need to use JMS and spawn off something on the back end. So this is just a simple Java method that I'm using where I'm going to call this notification, and then I've got many of those where I just call this notification and it kicks off at the back end. And then I still have a ability to know that it's not, if it doesn't succeed for whatever reason, then I still have ability to go back and then understand it using the future object. So it's not, I think that in itself saved me like a good couple of weeks of work.
Excellent.
Whether I just need.
Show us some of the JPQL or JPA queries that you have written.
Okay. So by default, as you can imagine, there's an abstract facade which creates some of the standard ones, but beyond that I've also gone ahead and created some of these myself. I've added additional stuff here using either create query or even create native queries. Also, and a lot of the named queries that automatically get created, which in itself is a benefit. It creates it. So I've added some other things, additional things like based on primary key, find by primary key. In addition to the ID query, I've also added new ones.
Very nice. So tell us, I'm going to turn the lights on again actually. So let me get back to you then.
Yeah.
What's the future like?
As far as the application is concerned?
That's correct.
Yeah, the idea is we have a big newer version coming in where we have a substantial increment of functionality that's been built from the previous version. That is, currently we are in control beta, and the goal is somewhere by middle of April we will go open so that people can start using it, and we've started building a larger team around this and and it's been very easy given that the people who already know Java and didn't have to go and put together a brand new team with the new technology. So we, for us, the next 1 month is going to be really huge. Going and acquiring new customers and new users, and then having this available on both iPhone and Android.
So if people want to sign up today, they can go to tinyhabit.com?
That's right. On tinyhabit.com, we have an early access program, beta request. You can submit your username and email address, and then we'll be in touch with you. And then also the idea here is we want to work closely with you, understand the specific needs there, and also make sure that we take in your inputs and then factor that into our prioritization of the product features and roadmap as we go forward.
Excellent, thank you. I wish you really good luck, and I think you have done a wise choice by choosing Java EE6, NetBeans and GlassFish.
Thank you.
Thank you.